What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Out of the Park Baseball 26. We're joining you today from July 31st, 2031, where our Pirates sit at 78-31, best record in all of the majors, looking to defend our title as World Series champions this season. In today's episode, we're going to look to finish out the regular season. We last left off doing the All-Star break festivities, the first-year player draft, looking ahead to the future. But now we need to come back to the present and handle business on the field in the second half. So we're going to look to move all the way through August and September in today's episode. I've simulated up to the trade deadline here, and we'll touch on that in a minute. But like I mentioned, all of August, all of September, and then by the end of this video, we will have a clear picture of the playoffs and know everything that awaits us in the next episode, where hopefully we can run through the DS, the NLCS, and eventually the World Series. So I want to touch on the trade deadline a bit here. I have done some investigation off camera in between episodes, and ultimately, guys, I don't think there are many moves for us to make because we have guys who are coming back from injury shortly. We have Edward Lantigua and Jared Jones. We could look to cycle out Severino and Carson Benj. Ultimately, I'm going to bet on their attributes shining through in the second half. I think they maybe just had a cold June, July, and are poised for a bounce back, or at least, that's what we're hoping. If it doesn't materialize, ultimately we just have to carry them for one more month on the roster, and then once September hits, we can get some more young guys in there. Once Lantigua comes back, he can, take the outfield. Benj can go play first. Something like that may work for us as well. So, there are options, and I think ultimately we can, lean on the talent of our system to push us over the edge and, fill in any gaps we may need. From a production standpoint, I wasn't really blown away with anyone available on the trade block. I looked at a couple of players here who somewhat fit our needs, like Alex Bregman is somewhere down here. Colorado is out of it. He is on the trade block, but I'm just a little indifferent on him. Is this really that much better than running out Johnny Severino and trying to get him more experience? I'm not certain. Even though Bregman is obviously quite the player with the storied history, I just don't think he makes sense for us, and everyone else here is just kind of not what we need. So I think we're going to stand pat, which should make today's episode, move along fairly quickly. I, of course, have a bunch of notes written down on things we need to cover, but it's really not all that much, and we should move relatively quickly. So before we get started, I would, I always appreciate if you're able to leave a like on the video. Of course, I try to make these pretty much daily for you guys. So I've never made YouTube videos before, and now I've made almost 50 episodes of this Pittsburgh series. So I think next episode will be the 50th episode, if I have my counting correct. And it's kind of fitting that it would be a playoff episode where we look to go back-to-back in World Series. So appreciate if you're able to, leave any comments or likes on the video. As always, that would be awesome. So my checklist of things to do today, we have the trade deadline, which we've already pretty much checked off. We're not going to do anything there. We're going to start moving through August. And then at some point halfway through here, we have to select players to go to the Arizona Fall League. We will do that together. Around that same time, we should get players like Edward Lantigua back, possibly even Jared Jones. We'll look to see how we can fit them in. They may go on rehab until, rosters expand, and then that'll just make it easier to fit them in, kind of to be determined. Of course, we do have September call-ups. When rosters do expand, we'll have to add more players to our team. I think there are a couple of strong candidates down here at AAA. When I think about pitching, I think about maybe Jason Solis, our second-round pick in 2028. Honestly, doesn't really project to have much of a plus tool here at all in terms of stuff or movement, but he's producing at the AAA level this season. He's got an above average ERA plus. The FIP minus is showing strongly as well. 2.2 WAR. There is a bit of a discrepancy here between right now you're looking at our scouts view. If we toggle to OSA, there's a big change of opinion here. So maybe our scout is missing something. Maybe AJ Preller doesn't see the whole picture here. We could look to integrate Solis into the bullpen, or I think another good option would be Bill Zimmerman, who honestly should be playing at the majors, if I'm being totally honest. He's got like a 2 ERA, 1.18 whip, FIP minus of 48. He's been lights out. He's striking out 15 per 9, 1.3 WAR, throwing close to triple digits, 2+ pitches, 3 pretty solid pitches. Like, he needs to be playing at the majors, so he's probably the first call up over Solis now that I'm thinking about it. Just 22 years old. Would love to get our 11th round pick in 2028 at the majors. So those are, two pretty strong pitching options. We also have kind of Cole Stokes down here, who has been sort of silently gaining momentum in our system. Always had a control issue, has now got that up to 40, a 7th round pick in 2026. This is a real player, I believe, but he's unlocked big time stuff and is having a great statistical year at AAA. It's his 2nd year there, kind of full, first year where he's got more full sample size. He's kind of doubled his innings year over year, has produced very strongly as well, so he could make sense too. But of course we can't fit everyone on, so it's just kind of I think we'll probably go Zimmerman first, then Solis, then Stokes would be how I would tier them. We also have guys like Gabe Ariano, who is OPSing, over 1,000 down here, hitting 376. Like, we obviously need to bring him up first. And we're not risking a PPI pick because he's not a recognized top prospect, but I think, he could come into the outfield or DH, honestly, and just kind of mash for us. So looking to get him on the 40-man prior to September to make sure he's playoff eligible, because he could be the spark plug we need in the playoffs. So I think he is really the only kind of batter we would look to bring up, barring any sort of injury at the major league level. Ben Small is producing down here, but I don't really think he's ready yet. Maybe in September we could call him up and get him a little exposure, but I just kind of think he's too far away right now, and next year will be his time with us. So those are, that's sort of the September thought process. Of course, we can revisit it once we get there. We got to go all the way through August and then, see how things develop on the field before we actually make those call-ups. So let me get started here. That is enough table setting for the episode. We're gonna go ahead and move halfway through August here, probably to the 14th or so, and then I will check back in, and we'll just look to do this in 2 chunks. All right, guys, pulling in here August 15th, you can see the month started off really well. We swept Colorado on the road, a couple of big-time games there, swept San Francisco immediately after, so we were 7-0 after this first game against Cincinnati, and then we kind of have been up and down ever since, lose one, win one, lose one. Actually lost this series on the road at Milwaukee, one of them in extras, but then we won the final game in extras, so a couple close ones there. We're now here on the 15th. And it is Arizona Fall League Selection Day, so we'll do that in a moment. But first, I wanted to touch on the return of Edward Lantigua. So he's coming back off of an extended hamstring strain. I'm kind of just throwing him back to pro ball right away. A little bit risky, I guess, but don't really think he needs the AAA work because he was so hot earlier in the season for us, one of our better hitters. 130 WRC plus, so hopefully this works out. And it's also Johnny Severino was so bad, y'all. Carson Bench has at least turned it around here. If we go to these stats are split for August, Carson Bench has a 127 WRC plus, so optimistic he has figured it out. And we're going to move him to first base now, so he is going to play that full time. He's not fully trained there, mind you, but hopefully that comes along quickly because we need to get Lantigua out there in the field. We're going to play him in right field since we think he is a plus defender there. He doesn't often get work in the field for us. He's mostly been a DH for us earlier this year, but hopefully this can kind of wake him up, and I would rather have him in the field than Weinberger. So he's going to go into the 5 spot, Weinberger down to the 7th spot, but Weinberger has been doing pretty well, I guess, league average, 103 WRC plus. Phil Goodall is maintaining his hot hitting, 141 so far through the first 2 weeks of August. The kind of wrinkle, we sent down, obviously, Johnny Severino, who is now at AAA, and I need to redo these lineups. That reminds me. So Severino goes down, kind of just unfortunate, but he was not doing well. If we go to his monthly splits here in August, 40 WRC plus negative WAR player. Just kind of a yikes. Stat line on the whole had regressed down to a negative, like below replacement level player. So needed to cycle him out. The like wrinkle, I guess, is like against left-handed pitching, we don't have anyone who is capable of playing first base. So, we don't want to play Carson Benj against lefty pitching. He has terrible splits this year, 41 WRC plus, so that's kind of off the table. And we could play Camden Koziel. I believe his splits are decent. Actually, they are not. They are even worse. He has a 12 WRC plus against lefties. So don't want to play him against lefty either. So we're going to actually take a risk here and try to train up Seth Weinberger there. And he's not really trained at all. It just has like very limited experience there, but I'm trying to throw him out there and hoping that it goes okay. He doesn't have the best outfield arm, so this is like making him the logical candidate. He's 6'1". I think he can play it, throws right-handed, so should all be fine. I guess in a limited sample, so he's only going to do that against left-handed pitching. So we're going to kind of try to get away with one there, again, just because there's no other really good candidate for the job. We also made a pitching move sometime around here. I believe this game against Cincinnati, I was looking at the box score, and it's rare to see us lose these days. So when we do, I kind of like zoom in, try to see what's going on. And Mike Burrows has just been awful for us, you guys. He's got a 6 ERA, 36 game score. We ended up sending him down. He actually, took the assignment. I'm not sure what the criteria is to refuse it. I thought maybe he could, given his service time, but he did not. And, it's not ideal to have a $6.8 million per year player sitting in AAA, but he was so bad. You look at his game log here, 4 straight, underperforming games where he's giving up 3 runs, 4 runs, 3 runs, 5 runs, and it's just not looking good, you guys. It's kind of a yikes. So hopefully, we're just kind of try to get him off the roster. I don't know that he'll ever come back up unless, maybe somebody goes down with injury or whatever. He could come back in September. It looks like he made 1 start at AAA. It went pretty well. But no, that's actually from earlier in the year when he was coming off rehab. So he actually has not made another start down there since we sent him down. But, he's almost a full negative WAR player for us at the major league level, negative 0.8 WAR. Just needed to be done. And the corresponding move was to actually bring up somebody who we had previously talked about, Jason Solis. I just, wanted to throw him out there. Felt like his AAA production warranted the call up. And I was ultimately proven right, at least through 1 start. It was a 62 game score, only walking 1, striking out 4, only 3 hits allowed and 6 1/3. Ultimately a no decision, but liked everything he did there. So we'll kind of give him the 5 spot, the 5 and die for the rest of the year. Jared Jones is still kind of coming back from rehab here. It's now like an unknown return date, and it's been that way for several days. So it's looking like his injury is a little more substantial coming off the shoulder thing. And given where we are on the calendar, I think we'll look to give him a start or 2 at AAA. And, right now we're on the 15th, so that would be like a start in these games and a start in possibly the next game as well. And just bring him back up once rosters expand. Maybe that's the plan. We'll kind of see how Solis does as well as Jones. So a couple of moves. We've redone the lineup here. We have Sanford batting cleanup now, which is his desired role here. So, he's elated at our choice to do that. And we bumped up Pena to the top, Griffin 2 spot, and then kind of, I think this is just, better optimized to how guys are hitting currently. So let's get to Arizona Fall League. I have yet to look at this with my own eyes. So we will, as always, do this live. We will go to the Sagueros here. And, we have, looks like 141 available players to us here. We will ask the AI to do an initial setup for us. And then we will zoom in to players in our organization and attempt to decide who to give a run and who not to give run. So I do like, these relievers getting chances here. David Garcia is a 10th round pick for us. Ultimately, probably has a home run issue, but he was highly regarded coming out, so I would like to see Melvin Salazar go, actually, more so than I think Stan Blackmore. Stan Blackmore is kind of just a whatever guy, so let's go ahead and make that change. Off rip, we will subtract Stan Blackmore, and we will add Melvin Salazar. I like that Dave Ipoc is going, the lefty reliever who we took in the 14th round in 2029, is looking pretty good. Jorge Rivera as well, I think, is pretty fine. I don't really like any of these other relievers all that much, or enough to send them, I guess. It's just kind of a question of, do we want Tony Granger to go there or not? He suddenly turned fragile on us, so I don't love that. We may need to get Tony into some sort of off-season program. I guess he had a sore thumb recently on the 12th, and that was sort of pushing him over the edge, I guess. He's had strained forearms last year, hamstring soreness, sore elbow, now sore thumb. So I don't really, he's always kind of struggled. We ended up bumping him back to AA, and it looks like that has almost backfired. He's pitching much worse down there ever since returning. 28 game scores in the 20s every time, so that's a yikes. I don't know if his he has good relationships with all of the coaches down here. You would think Villano could make it work with him. I don't know what's going on with Tony Granger. I think what do we do here? Do we leave him in? Do we take him out? That is, I guess, the question. He's been so bad at every level here. Don't really know if he'll ever come along for us. Let's actually pull him out. Let's pull him out. This is not looking good. We need to get him in the dev lab. And do we want to throw another pitcher in here? Who do we like here? I actually don't like any of our players here. I just, everyone is underwhelming. Jacob McGovern has gone every season, so sure, we'll throw Jacob McGovern in there. Why not? Although I guess we could argue that Stan Blackmore is more interesting. So fully pivoting to Stan Blackmore. That's enough of that. Let's go to all batters here. Okay, this is what we like to see. I like to see Zach Hammer going back. Hoping that maybe he can, be our backup catcher next season, but we want a little more development out of him. And I don't know that we would ever put him in the dev lab, so it's probably better if he gets run here. Jacoby Rodriguez this is an interesting prospect. I think we look to get him in the dev lab. He's really come along. He's kind of just a scouting discovery that has come out of nowhere for us. So we're going to hold him out. Who are our other players here? It looks like they're sending a bunch of outfielders, and Ben Small is one of them. Obviously, we don't want Ben Small to go, so we're going to subtract him. I just would rather get him in the development lab. And, as far as infielders go, I'm kind of indifferent on most of these guys. I think there are... maybe we could put Gabe Boyd in there. Gabe Boyd's a solid player. But otherwise, pretty happy with this. So we've got several outfielders: Ray Dunn, Matt Hucks, John Fairchild, Jay Johnson, John Summerfeld, excuse me. And then Jimmy Minshew is a 16th round pick who's kind of come along for us at the AA level. Looks like he's doing really well statistically down there. So, yeah, I think I'm good with this. So we'll go ahead and submit this. So we're pulling out Tony Granger and Ben Small. Just going to look to get them in the dev lab probably. And all these other guys will get at-bats, into October. So let's get back to the major league level here. I think we're going to be smooth sailing for the rest of the month. Once Jared Jones comes back, I'll put him on rehab. But next time you hear from me will be at the September call-up date and roster expansion. So let's see if we can keep the good momentum going here and finish August strongly. All right, y'all, end of August here. As you can see, super strong month. We ended up taking the series at Chicago, sweeping Toronto, sweeping Colorado for the second time in the month. 3 of 4 on the road in St. Louis before kind of ending on a sour note where we got swept in Fenway. So overall, I mean, we're already at 98 wins at the end of August. 98-40 is outrageous. We have an outside chance at, if we play lights out this month, beating the Seattle Mariners record of 116 regular season wins. So that'll be kind of a milestone we'll look for. Obviously, it would require us to win like the majority of our games here. I don't know that we have that in us, but we'll see how close we can get. Team stats, 20-9 is our August record there. 3 games above our expected record. Still looking good across majority of categories here, although our base running has taken a step back this season. First in pretty much every pitching category, helped out by our great defense. So, where do we stand? We've already clinched. We've already clinched the division. We've already clinched playoff spot. There's really no one on our same level here. The Dodgers are 9 games behind us for top record in the NL. We just have to hope to stay healthy here down the stretch, and everything should fall into place as we have planned. So, I've already made a bunch of September call-ups. It's obviously roster expansion. And I'll show you what we're doing on pitching first. So we've brought back, notably, Jared Jones. He made 2 starts after returning from his shoulder injury down at AAA, both really, really strong. 53 game score, 75 game score. In his most recent one, he only walked 1, struck out 10. And at the MLB earlier this season, he was playing pretty well for us. So excited to have him back. He's going to be our 4 starter. And we also called up Bill Zimmerman, the kind of phenom reliever, like 80 grade stuff, huge fastball cutter combo. Was playing great at AAA. We touched on him earlier in the episode, so don't need to spend too much time here, but he's going to actually get a setup role with us, and we're bumping down Carlos Mateo to just simply middle relief because he's kind of been a liability for us back there. He's walking 6/9, like not good. Even though he is limiting contact and striking guys out, it's just like the walks are killing us, and he's got elevated homers. So just not really his season, I would say. He's kind of, regressing a little bit here. Not as lights out as he was last year with us, albeit last year, was a very limited 15-inning sample. So we kind of pushed him aggressively this year. Hasn't really worked out, although I would say he's been fine. He's just been average. But we're going to bump him down to lower leverage, give Zimmerman a shot at setup here, and see how we do. Diaz still remains as our closer, but we're keeping Jason Solis in the rotation, and I actually ended up sending down Brian Hiles, which is maybe a little surprising, but he had a really rough August. Pretty much every start after this one against Cincinnati, he had 4 straight real stinkers, 4 allowed, 5 allowed, 5 allowed, 5 allowed, and I just didn't want that momentum to continue, so felt like it made sense to reset him at AAA, given we got Jones back. Wanted to keep Solis up and give him a little more run. He has had a couple of good starts, one kind of bad one, but, majority good. So I want to give him a little bit longer of a leash, see what we have here with him. And just kind of felt like all of this made sense. Lineup-wise, the move was to bring up Gabe Arellano, who at AAA was obviously destroying. He's played across both levels, AA and AAA this season. Hit over 360 at both, OPS near 1,000 at both. He's definitely ready for a major league debut. And this is a player who we signed out of international free agency in 2027, and we only gave him a bonus of $400K. And to see him grow into the player he's become here is actually amazing. He is almost like Nick Gonzalez level good at gap power and contact, brings that plus speed, and can actually play in the field as well. He's not a total liability in the corners. So looking forward to working him in here and seeing what he has. We added him to the 40-man prior to September, so he should be playoff eligible if I did that correctly. Same for Zimmerman in the bullpen. But his role, he's going to be primary DH against right-handed pitchers. And, I think I may look to rotate him in Lantigua pretty regularly, have them on kind of like an every other day kind of thing. And then against left-handed pitching, he's going to bat second, and he's actually going to play left field here. So we're benching we're benching Brock Kettleson, who has cooled off tremendously here. So, not the best August for Brock. He was, off to a, tremendous first half, and the second half has sort of cooled off for him, although he's still, very, very strong. But we're going to bench him. He was originally playing against left-handed pitching. Ariano's just going to kind of take his spot in left field, and then we're going to move Goodall over to right. So this is, the current structure. I think we are poised to have a very strong September here. Again, pending health. You always fingers crossed that you can make it through this healthy. I may look to kind of pull pitchers up and down and try to space out our innings in the rotation, given we have such a huge lead on anyone else in the NL. I really want to be mindful of innings for guys like Dan Beebe and Finn McElroy. I believe Beebe is already at 176. He is. And McElroy is at 161. We'll kind of see how much longer we want to push those guys. But let's get to it here. I have another bit of I have some more business I want to handle off camera, but I will check back in halfway through the month here and update you guys on the performance of our call-ups. All right, guys, joining you here on September 15th. I think the dream may be dead, considering this most recent road trip just went horrendous. Our worst stretch of play all season long, losing 3 at Baltimore, 3 at Washington. So, trying to get to 116, I think we would have to win out in order to get there, which is very unlikely, I would say. So there have been some major things that have occurred here, 2 major bits of news. So first off, Phil Goodall unfortunately has gone down with bone chips in his elbow. Cuts his season short. It's possible he could return for us in the playoffs, but 5 weeks of recovery time left on this. He got in there for 51 games, was a 137 WRC plus hitter, 1.4 WAR player for us, largely playing in left field. Had a really, really great season. He's not the best from a counting stats perspective, but the defense was carrying, and he was able to, get some timely hits, hitting almost 300. So unfortunate to see him go down. Our corresponding move was actually just to call up, some more outfield depth. We called up Esther Suero, which is a major throwback, but he was actually playing well at AAA, had a 137 WRC plus, so maybe he kind of figured it out again down there. So kind of to be determined what he gives us here at the major league level. I actually think I'm going to look to swap out Brock Kettleson. I originally just started playing Kettleson more, but it looks like he's still quite cold here. We have these stats split for September, and he just has a 40 WRC plus, so may look to move off of him. But Goodall is down, so we're going to have to, make up his production elsewhere. The other bit of major news was actually on the personnel front, and this is something I had alluded to doing earlier, and that was to replace our scout. So AJ Preller was let go. We bring on Brett Weber, who we're transitioning from a highly favored tools scout to just a plain favor tools scout. So he's a little bit more neutral. Obviously, he still favors tools, but on the scale of highly favorability to highly favored tools, we are one notch closer to neutral with just a favor tools scout here. But really like what he brings. He is superior at scouting amateurs. He's legendary there. Outstanding at international and better at minor and major league scouting, which is what I was mostly looking for, was increased attributes at these higher levels here. So we bring him on a 5-year deal, AJ Preller is cast to the wayside. Maybe he can find a job this offseason. We'll have to try to remember to check on him. But we're in the process of, I guess, like re-scouting our whole org now. We have, a huge task list going here for him. I haven't even started scouting the lower minors. We're only at the high A level so far, but just trying to get a better picture of everyone in our org. So, it would have been nice to set the record for wins, but really, I'm just happy to make it through healthy. I guess, we've already not done that, but I'm hoping these remaining games can go our way. So let me finish this out off camera, and I will rejoin you to recap the rest of September. All right, y'all, that's a wrap on September and a wrap on the 2031 regular season. You can see we still sort of struggled in the middle, but ended up finishing strong. I would say 6 straight on the road to close out the month. We ended up extending our losing streak here, lost 2 of 3 at home against Chicago, 2 of 3 at home against Vegas as well. I was sort of toying with the lineup here, and then I finally landed on something I liked. Guys were just cold. We weren't hitting. The pitching was a mess. Our bullpen was exhausted after this streak of losses. I had to call up some new, fresh arms, just kind of like swingmen to fill in roles. And then down the stretch here, we actually ended up benching a bunch of our primary pitchers. So guys like Dan Beebe, Robert Gasser, and Finn McElroy all didn't play this final stretch of games. I gave guys like Brian Hiles a start, Jared Jones, Mike Burrows came back up and made a start, and I actually gave another start to Jason Solis and another start to just a random pitcher on our 40-man. So we were really kind of juggling guys here, and I'm surprised we won all these games, honestly. But I wanted to, preserve the health of our players, especially those fragile pitchers. Gasser and McElroy didn't want any funny business here since we didn't really have much to play for. 112-50 is the best record in Pirates history, better than, the 1909 Pirates had 110 wins, and the 1902 Pirates had 109 wins. In terms of the modern era, you had 2015 and 1991 and 1979 all at 98 wins. So we have crushed all previous benchmarks for the franchise, setting a new season high in wins. Of course, we are, the top seed in the NL, but I'll show you kind of how the divisions finished. New York takes the East. Miami and Washington both make wild card spots, along with Chicago, and the Dodgers handily take the West as well, finishing also at triple-digit wins. So, pretty strong year for them. Be curious to see if we end up matching up with them in the playoffs. On the American League side, Tampa makes it at 99. Boston is a wild card team. Detroit and Cleveland both make it 89. They actually tied there, so that's kind of crazy. Unsure. We'll have to see how the tiebreaker worked out. LA in the West at 90 wins. Houston makes it as a wild card as well. So category leaders here. It looks like Emil Morales for the Dodgers continues to be the best player in this sim at just 25 years old. But James Wood hit 47 jacks in the first year of his new contract in D.C. Good enough for tops in all the major leagues. It looks like Sebastian Walcott got to 43 on the other side there. Almost 150 RBI for Emil Morales is crazy, though. 149 there. Steals goes to Ellie with 41. OPS, James Wood, 1,000. Batter WAR, also James Wood at 7.1, but our guy Wyatt Sanford makes an appearance at 6.6. ERA, we had 2 pitchers dominate all season. Finn McElroy and Dan Beebe were lights out, both sub-3 ERA. Dan Beebe had 21 wins and 229 strikeouts, good enough for a 6.5 WAR, a full point of WAR ahead of Hunter Brown, so he is poised for another Cy Young season. I'll go ahead and jump into his stats here. Look at all this red. This is awesome to see. 67 FIP minus. Only had him pitch 205 this year. Of course, he kind of had a scary injury earlier in the year with the forearm tendonitis, but bounced back from that. Was trying to be conservative with him down the stretch as we finished. But another huge season for Dan Beebe, adding to his legacy and aura, I guess. We still have him under control for 5 more seasons after this. So the Dan Beebe era is really just getting started here in Pittsburgh. And I'll be curious to see what his career stats end up looking like at the end of all of this. So really great season from him, but Finn McElroy as well. I'm not going to do a full stat review in this video, but I'm just spotlighting the guys who performed really well. A career year for Finn here. Our 4th round pick in 2025 out of UCLA is now entering arbitration at just the right time to get paid. Big salary, 4.6 WAR is crazy. He was not giving up the long ball or walking guys. Overall, his ERA, WHIP, FIP combo all look very, very strong, and it's, pretty surprising given his, attribute profile here. But I guess just from a production standpoint, he's on a hot streak, and that carried through the whole season. So obviously super happy. I think we'll go some combination of Beebe, Gasser, McElroy as our 1, 2, 3, and then the 4th starter will kind of be to be determined. I don't know. That may be Jared Jones, or if we're feeling crazy, it might even be Tyler August. I don't really know yet. As far as the playoff tree, let's take a look here. We will get the winner of Chicago and Miami. So I'll have to see how we stack up against those teams once we simulate through. Washington will face New York on the other side, with the LA Dodgers, of course, looming as they always do. In the AL, it looks like the Tigers will play Boston and Cleveland will play Houston. Tampa and LA await, like we mentioned. So we'll get into this in next episode. We'll try to make a return to the World Series and hopefully win it. I'll need to, of course, study up on our lineup and our player tendencies to make sure we are putting together the best playoff roster we can. If we go into expanded standings, I actually do want to check our run differential here, because it is a whopping 259, and we are actually 5 over our expected record. Great at home, great away, good in extra inning, positive record in 1-run games. Good against left, and we terrorize right-handed pitching. So lots to like here. I don't think there's a real weak point in our game. Of course, those are risky words to say, but I'm feeling confident in our team to be able to possibly return here. So if we go to team stats too, I meant to show those as well. Once we finished up here on the calendar, you can see that our offense sort of regressed down the stretch. I think we got cold in August, and I'm not actually certain that these numbers truly reflect, because the computer made some moves now that we're at the playoffs. They kind of set up our playoff roster for us. I'm unsure if these account for the players currently on roster or all the stats that we've accumulated at the majors, if you kind of understand what I'm saying. But I think pitching carried our team. Pitching and defense, first in every category here, is crazy. Just got a little carried away with the walks, but honestly not too bad. It's just middle of the pack. Offense, first in runs scored, obviously. 5th in OBP. I think we're not really walking. We've got a bunch of aggressive guys at the dish looking to do damage, so we're kind of just free swinging, and most of the time it's working because we're leading in runs scored. So those are our team splits here. Not as good of base runners as we were last season. So, we'll have to do some tinkering here with the lineup. I suspect we will carry guys like Gabe Ariano into the postseason. Let's actually check on our September call-up here and see what he's doing. Got 87 plate appearances, worked in 21 games, 8 doubles, 3 homer, 8 RBI. Will never walk. Pretty much he's never going to walk. Unless we train that in the dev lab and roll a really good result. But I'm not even sure I'd want to train that. I would probably want to train raw power. But he hit 250, OPS 728, just a 95 WRC plus. But I think I'm willing to bet on his on-paper attributes playing. Given that we're down Phil Goodall for 2 to 3 weeks still, we probably just bring Ariano, and that's our like 9-hitter or something like that. This lineup is no way reflective of what I'm going to run out for the playoffs. This is just kind of like riding the hot hand through September. And guys like Carson Benj were really hitting, but you can look at the counting stats here. Connor Griffin had a great season, 32 homer, 99 RBI, 30 steals, so he was a 30-30 guy. We actually got an achievement for that once we advanced into the off-season here, or the playoffs. 128 WRC plus. He is definitely going to get costly as he looks to enter arbitration. We'll try to lock him up for all of his ARB years. I don't know if we'll be able to or not. He just is so financially ambitious. It makes it difficult to figure things out with him. Every time I've tried to negotiate with him, he's always, spurned me. But I'll look to handle all of this in next episode. Bill Zimmerman, I think we likely bring as well into the postseason. His, it's just a 10-inning sample, but he was pretty much dominant in every facet here. So love his stuff out of the pen. Think it could be electric for us in the postseason. So I've got a lot to figure out in terms of our roster management. But as always, I appreciate you guys watching. If you have any thoughts on the season as a whole, maybe our September call-ups, let me know who you're looking forward to in the coming seasons here. We've got a lot of exciting young players debuting, but make sure to tune in for a new episode tomorrow where we look to handle the 2031 playoffs, and we'll play all of that in its entirety. So should be fun. As always, take it easy, guys. I will see you then with a new episode.